We'll switch gears now to the football side of things. Potentially a little bit of unexpected news over the weekend for those of us on the outside looking in. Jayden Daniels, former starting quarterback at Arizona State, has announced he is heading to Baton Rouge via the transfer portal. He'll join a crowded quarterback room with Miles Brennan, Garrett Nussmeier, and Walker Howard. Chris Karpman covers Arizona State for SunDevilSource.com, part of the 247 Sports Network. He joins us now. Chris, thanks for some time. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to be with you guys.
Thank you so much for jumping aboard. So let's go back to Jayden Daniels as a recruit. Obviously, a very highly thought of recruit. Signed at Arizona State, has been the starter there for 3 seasons. What does that look like out there in Arizona?
Yeah, he was extremely highly regarded quarterback prospect coming out of high school, 4-year starter in high school, the highest ranked quarterback that ASU's ever signed, and looked great as a freshman. 2019, only had 2 interceptions. Seemed like he was going to be a Heisman Trophy type of a candidate, somebody who could take ASU to a different level. And then really in the last 2 years between COVID and an offensive coordinator change and some other things that happened with their personnel, there was a loss of confidence between Daniels and the coaching staff, and regression type of a season that included some technique kind of things that happened and some decision making, and it just kind of went sour for Daniels. And even though ASU was reasonably successful last year with 8 wins in the regular season, it fell short of the team's overall expectations, and a big part of that was the passing game didn't go to a level that I think a lot of people had anticipated.
Chris Karpman's our guest, covers Arizona State for SunDevilSource.com. So was the announcement that he had entered the transfer portal did not come as a surprise to you?
No, it wasn't a surprise. He had said in early December that he was going to be back, but even after that happened, we had been hearing that people close to him had been reaching out to other schools and gauging what the interest level was like. And then ASU went through the coordinator change. They have this NCAA investigation that's been ongoing, and there really was sort of a break in confidence between Daniels and his family and the coaching staff, especially on offense, that permeated all of last year and was an undercurrent of the season after expectations were so high. And then I think all of that sort of played into his decision to ultimately transfer.
What type of player was he when it went so well as a freshman in 2019?
Really good decision maker for a young player. They had Brandon Ayuk, so they were able to get the ball to him in space, and he was the Power 5 leader in yards after the catch, and also could get behind the defense and make big plays. I think the key things about Daniels were his ability to scramble and get first downs with his feet, especially on 3rd and long situations and man coverage. It's very difficult to defend him. And then he's a good RPO quarterback with the first level reads and understanding when to take the ball and run with it. Screen game, quick game, all those things were really good, and he didn't put the ball in a lot of jeopardy. So the limitations that he had were more of drop back passing, going through progression reads, and that never really developed to the degree that I think the coaches had hoped would be the case. And partly that's probably because the new coordinator, Zach Hill, over the last 2 years, didn't necessarily try to bend what he was doing with his system to fit what were Daniel's strengths, and maybe pushed him to evolve in ways that he wasn't ready for or didn't have the capability to do.
We all talking about his freshman season, just how well he played that year, 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Do you think LSU is more, going after him because they think he can reach that potential, or do you think it's more of, they're kind of taking a flyer on this guy and really just kind of see what they can get from him?
Well, I look at what Brian Kelly did at Notre Dame with a lower caliber athletes at the skill positions than he will have at LSU, and a guy like Ian Book is a lesser caliber player probably than what Jayden Daniels could be from an upside standpoint in terms of his passing capability and also even athletically to some degree. So I think you look at what they're trying to do, and they want to inject a different sort of component to what they have at the quarterback position, to where if it works out, there's a lot of upside. And they probably don't need to ask too much of Daniels which is also kind of in his wheelhouse stylistically. So there's an alpha male component, a leadership component that could possibly not be developed enough with Daniels, depending upon what's asked of him in that respect. And that's more of a question mark than I think what he'll be able to do as far as just operationally be able to help drive an offense where he can do a lot of things with his feet. And then I also would say he probably can get a lot better at play extension ability to still throw the football. That's where I don't think he's come close to maximizing his capability.
He's Chris Karpman, SunDevilSource.com, part of the 247 Network, joining us talking about Jayden Daniels. I always try to understand that we don't know these athletes. We know them in interview settings, and we know them, on the field. So, from what you know, what type of locker room presence is Jayden Daniels?
Well, he's a good kid, and his teammates largely like him. The question about him would be, does he have that leadership quality to sort of drive and push his teammates in a way that gets them bought in and motivated and all kind of on the same page? He's not a big voice. He's not a huge presence of a guy, which I think tends to be kind of important as a quarterback. He's more of a go with the flow, and if people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's more on them than something that he is trying to hold everybody into account. So, and that to me mostly was a cultural issue with Herm Edwards, who tends to be really permissive and wants player accountability and stuff like that. I don't think that's the way that Brian Kelly will lead a program. And so I'm interested to see how his personality meshes with Daniels and if he's able to squeeze some of that out of him, especially just with the way things have gone for Daniels, being sort of hard set in that capacity over the last, not just 3 years of college, but really the entirety of his career.
I was asked about this like 12 days ago, and I said, I just don't know, based on what I know about the transfer portal, that this is the right fit, because you've got a sixth-year senior quarterback who's the presumed starter, who was here long before Joe Burrow was. You've got a highly touted guy entering his second year, and then a five-star freshman entering the fold. It just doesn't seem like a place that immediate playing time is even close to a guarantee. Does it surprise you that he would land somewhere with as much depth and experience as LSU?
A little bit. I don't think that he would go there unless he was given a strong indication that if he did what was expected of him, that he would emerge as the starting quarterback. And that's speculation on my part. Nobody's really actually told me that. But just knowing what I know about him and his mother and how sort of important certain things are, I'm guessing that that's the case. And I would say just again that Brian Kelly has shown an inclination to want to have the athletic dual threat quarterbacks who can go run and do some design things and extend plays to create first downs that move the ball down the field. So that's probably what they sold him on, and something that he wanted, I think, to be playing at a high visibility location such as LSU, and maybe can also maximize some name, image, likeness opportunities as a result of that.
Last one, Chris, and we appreciate your time very much. I was shocked when Arizona State hired Herm Edwards off my television screen. How would you rate his performance there, and what's the state of that program right now?
Well, things were going really well until the NCAA investigation, which last June, extremely derailing to their recruiting and also their staff, where they had basically 5 coaches now who have either resigned or been fired. And I think that it just was this huge headwind that they're probably not going to be able to get over. They did a really great job of building talent. They had 8 NFL combine players, which was the most in the Pac-12. But I still would say that they didn't take advantage of the best opportunity they've had in a really long time to win the Pac-12 South and maybe even the conference overall. They had some disappointing things happen, especially with their offense last year. BYU, Utah, they had a really perplexing home loss to Washington State, in which they turned the ball over their first 3 possessions. But the way that things are trending now, it seems like they've already peaked, and they're going to have a hard time getting better in the next year or so. And it seems unlikely that Edwards is going to accomplish a lot of the things that were set forth as the goals of the program by Ray Anderson, the athletic director.
He is Chris Karpman. Jeez, that was just pathetic. I missed it like 6 times. He is Chris Karpman, SunDevilSource.com, part of the 247 Network. Chris, we really appreciate some time. Thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.